Also, to welcome to anyone who listens to this recording later. And if there's anyone that would like to get information from the Valley that isn't currently receiving it, go down to the bottom of your screen and find the little chat thing and put your contact information in there, and we will gladly send you information. So with that, welcome. I will read our mission statement. The Susquehanna Valley Ethical Society is a community of all walks of life that learns and grows together through shared values, doing good, and nurturing the human spirit. We are a safe and courageous place in which members can build a community of friends, find inspiration and purpose, provide moral education for their children, celebrate seasons and life events, and clarify their world views. So welcome, and I'll go back to Patty.
Thank you, Nancy, for that welcome this morning. And I do have some announcements to make. First of all, I want to start off by reminding folks to share our Valley with family, friends. When you see things popping up on from our Facebook page, please share it with others. It's how we get the word out. On Monday, January 24th, we do have an Ethical Education Committee meeting. Now, it is open to all SVES members, anybody wanting to know what ethical education is all about and how you might help us keep an education program going. Please join us at 7 o'clock. You can send an email to info@susquehannavalleyethicalsociety.org, and a Zoom link for the meeting Monday night will be sent to you. On Thursdays, we have been having a blast exercising with our member, Brian Johnson. This happens at 7 o'clock every Thursday evening online. And Brian is a professional certified fitness trainer. Last week, he introduced us to some weight training. Many of us had vegetable cans that we were pumping away on. Of course, if you have any handheld weights, feel free to use those. I said last Thursday, it went from, for me personally, it went from gentle, easy exercise to grueling exercise. But that's because I am so out of shape, and I hope with Brian's help, I will get into shape sooner than later. But please, we do have a lot of fun, and we had a nice turnout last Thursday evening. Sunday, January 30th. Now, our societies do not meet on the 5th Sunday of a month, but this particular Sunday, the American Ethical Union is hosting an all-society platform. And the title of that platform is W.E.B. Du Bois, Will the Truth Set You Free? And a guest speaker, Dennis D. Parker, will be portraying W.E.B. Du Bois in sharing a speech that Du Bois gave in 1949 at the New York Society of Ethical Culture. So it should be a very interesting program on the 30th, and please join in. It's wonderful to see all of the different folks from societies across our nation, you know, from California, West Coast, you know, through the midsection of our country, and to the East Coast. And, you know, we're just yes, Nancy.
What time did I think I missed the time.
Yeah, I didn't say. It was 11 o'clock Sunday, January 30th.
AM or PM?
Oh, well, that's AM. Yes.
And is the link going to be on our website?
Yes, when you go to our website and go scroll through the calendar and click on that particular program, you'll find the Zoom link for that. And then getting set for February, the theme is friendship and fellowship. And February 6th, we kick off with Louise Jett from the Ethical Society of St. Louis. And Louise is an emerging ethical culture leader. And she's going to talk about, Seeking My Charis, how Kurt Vonnegut introduced me to humanism. And I had listened to this talk she did a couple weeks ago, and I thought, oh, this is a good one for Louise to share with us. So don't miss February 6th for Louise. And now Kim is going to share our affirmation.
Oh, first, why we meet. We meet with purpose, to deepen our sense of the meaningfulness of life, to shine light on the ideas with which we guide our choices, to give us courage to take the higher path, and to get to know one another over time in appreciation for each one's unique and incomparable worth. And together, we work for a world where love and justice cross all borders. Our affirmation statement is: we affirm the worth, dignity, and uniqueness of every human being.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you. That always is nice. It gets us centered for the program. And we do have our guest poet and our guest musician with us today. And we will have, let's start with Olivia. Olivia's poetry is something we've come to love each Sunday.
Yeah, they can't see each other. You're sharing screen.
Okay.
Let me stop sharing screen. Hold on, I'm sorry. Let me stop sharing screen so we can see everybody. Because now, can everybody see everybody now? Okay, great.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, Olivia?
Okay, let me pull it up. Okay, this poem, I chose it. I hope that it resonates with the rest of the message, but it's a poem that I wrote. The context is kind of centering the idea of queer Black femmes. I will preface it, I guess, in saying the connection is if you can build a space that includes queer Black femmes, trans people, and especially Black, brown, and indigenous trans people, then that is sort of like moving towards it definitely should be considered in moving towards a secure future for this ethical movement or any ethical movement. And so I am speaking about queer Black femmes, but of course the message can reverberate to everyone. And so I'll begin. I put an asterisk on the first line to queer Black femmes because the next part will define what I mean. Okay. To queer Black femmes who don't know what to call themselves, but live it in real time, surrounded by lies and illusions. Queer Black femmes, those people constrained by gender norms and sexual organs and hormones they need more access to, and garments that seem to fit them from the other side of the store, and hair that grows without a care, and blood that runs, and pain that stabs their abdomen, and families that look at them like aliens, and love that's withheld, and confusion misplaced when all of history is confused about the constructions they've placed, and fear of your being that brings up feelings that invite them to violence, and jealousy of a freedom that they don't know how to claim because they're boring. This is called the blues. Sorry. A scream, does it have to be this way? A curse to a being whose attention is fleeting. More and more you yell and they seem to not be listening. A cry, must we let it all go? Watch it pour from our bodies and drown the atmosphere in hope of better laters and moments to come. More and more you cry and they seem to enjoy a dip in your pain. A howl, will it always hurt this strong? It stops us in us. It stops us in our tracks us on their timelines. Our death is a cushion to rest their good intentions on. More and more we howl and they seem to listen for the melody in our throats. A prayer, will you help me heal? The forgotten power and healing that happens unaccompanied, community not communing. More and more we heal and they seem to open fresh wounds. A growl, does anger have a place here? Mississippi goddamned us, but it's all cool over here, calm and collected and raging inside. More and more we growl and they seem to interpret the base as the foundation they laid. A song, does emotion come in vibration? A note to the wise travels through the air and we catch it, moving through the atmosphere and we dance. More and more we sing and they seem to know the words without soul. A poem, is my subconscious around? Write down all that you know, that knowing consciously is not all. Dig deep and uncover paragraphs in the spaces on pages. More and more poetry is written and they seem to want the facts of our suffering. A hope, is God good all the time? Saying no won't change the story of how we got here, but by and by we ask questions unanswered. More and more we hope and they seem to construct a star in the sky to wish upon. Love, am I afraid? Fear is not a part of the equation of 1 + 2 = apprehension, so do it without hidden intentions. More and more we love and they seem to not quite understand when the supply will dry up. Create, our dreams in the future. You are a past concept made real. You are a past concept made real-time product of stuff unbearable. Open your eyes and picture a fantasy. More and more we create and they seem to not keep up with production. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Okay,
you, Olivia. Okay, Lindsay.
awesome. Thank you, Olivia. Thanks so much. This song is a song I read called The Same Boat Now. It's relatively new, and we are all in the same boat. No matter who we are, we're all riding that wave together. So this song is related to that. Built myself a rowboat to get me to the other side. Then it occurred to me, I think I might want some company. So I called my brothers from another mother, called my sisters to come on board. Grab an oar and let's row together now. For we're all in the same boat now. Well, I think there's trouble in paradise heard things about me that weren't quite nice, about how Lindsay's going against the grain. Seems like it's causing a lot of pain, but I beg my family, don't fear all the calamities. Calamities fast, surely they won't last. Just grabbing my courage and learning to stand my ground, that's all. For we're all in the same boat now. Ooh, yeah, yeah, ooh. Oh, it is clear to see we're headed for rough waters, so let's set sail and hold tight before the night falls. The wind is strong and will carry us on to a land of hope and joy will cometh in the morning. Oh, in the morning. Built myself a rowboat to get me to the other side. Then it occurred to me I might have to be my own company. They said, Lindsay, your journey is not for me. I'm gonna have to set you free, and I'm okay with it all, just as long as you do what's right for you. For we're all in the same boat now, and we'll have to stay afloat somehow, 'cause we're all in the same boat now. Ooh, all in the same boat now. Ooh, we're all in the same boat now. Ooh.
Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you. I'm glad to be in the boat with all of you today. And now we do have Dr. Jay Hooper, our ethical consulting leader, and our L. Miller, our very own L. Miller, member of SVES and also the director of administration with the AEU. You see that they're in command center, L's office.
This is where it all
Dr.
goes down.
Wait, freeze.
Look, I'm like, but you said you didn't want any heat.
Well, no.
This is about to be a comedy show, y'all. Y'all ready?
We're ready.
You got us in the same room together. All right, we're gonna hook this up. This is in our okay, cool. All right, let me just
We have to share.
nope, it's okay.
Right?
I got you. Yep. So, oops, because it's so sensitive. All right, we're just working on some computer sensitivity. And I'm going to, all right, share screen. So I just want to give you a heads up that we're extremely minimizing the screen so you can see. So if there is anything happening in the chat, we will do a, we'll stop, we will be able to see those comments after we stop sharing screen, okay? So just wanted to
Federation of ethical culture.
Do that. Let me, all right, you ready? Oh.
Yeah, well.
Okay, all right, so would you like to introduce this first? Because I don't.
This is a video, the leader of the New York Society, Richard Corll, he's the leader of New York Society and of Long Island Society. He put this video together. He's the head of fundraising for the AEU. It's on, basically it's on planned giving.
Culture and ethical humor.
You know, back it up, there you go.
Welcome to a presentation of the American Ethical Union, the Federation of Ethical Culture and Ethical Humanist Societies. This slide presentation is offered as a message on behalf of your society to encourage its members and friends to consider the long-term.
Hold on, we're just trying to work on the sound. You actually have to put in the passcode. Do you know it? There we go. All right, now y'all should be able to really hear us clearly.
Welcome to a presentation of the American Ethical Union, the Federation of Ethical Culture and Ethical Humanist Societies. This slide presentation is offered as a message on behalf of your society to encourage its members and friends to consider the long-term future of your society, to consider what it needs and what you can do to assure its long-term growth and health. How do you see the future? Can you see a path for the ethical movement that goes on beyond your lifetime? In building an institution, the society has to serve not only our generation, but generations of the future as well, to be flexible enough, alive enough, and vigorous enough to meet their needs, to evolve with the times in order to serve people in the future with an ethical humanist life stance whom we do not know and may not even imagine. How can you help sustain the proud legacy of the ethical movement into the future? Ethical culture is approaching its 150th year anniversary. In all that time, a proud and rich legacy was built through vision, tenacity, commitment, and the generous investment by people who believed that a new and valuable project was launched here. How can you support the values you held most dear throughout your life? Equality, education, democracy, and humanism. These are living principles that can wither away if not supported, nurtured, and encouraged. How can ethical culture remain a voice and a supporter of your values? Can you preserve the precious things that you value so that in the future they are valued too? Values like friendship, sincerity, and an enriching community. You've been a part of this community for a long time and forged strong relationships within it. You've striven to live a life that is ethical and engaged. You learned from others and had an opportunity to share your own values. Can the community founded on those principles that are so important to you survive and thrive? Will there be an ethical society available for today's youth when it's their time to search for a meaningful community? Will the society be supported to carry through the years, active, engaged, and vital, so it can serve as an inspiration for them? Yes, there is a way. But why is it so hard to talk about money? I'm sure at least half of you listening today are starting to blanch in fear right now over the prospect of discussing money. M-O-N-Y, the four-letter word. Money is the most important topic that people won't discuss. Money can be bad, but money can also be very good. Money is the lifeblood of any organization, and ethical societies are no exception. Existence requires material sustenance, and money can be the means of underwriting the mission of ethical culture, the generosity, the growth, the education, and so many of the good things that can enrich the world. Annual gifts support day-to-day operations. Budgets have a one-year time horizon. We're delighted with success when our budget can balance for the year and cover the expenses that the operations entail. But what will assure the society's long-term survival and growth? The yearly budget is not a strategic plan, nor is it an investment in long-term growth or transformation, or even long-term maintenance. It's endowments that will assure the future with long-term growth, program development, rainy day funds, assurance, and security. A firm foundation can be established on which a secure future can be assured. With an investment of funding, programs, and facilities, there can be to encourage and support those who seek the community that ethical culture can offer. Several years ago, the Westchester Society's furnace broke down and was beyond repair. A replacement was to cost over $22,000, beyond what the Society had in reserve. An unexpected bequest of $24,000 came in, which enabled the proper work to be done, and the Society's activities continued without interruption. Without that gift, the Society's community would have faced serious crises. For program development, in the New York Ethical Society, a gift for social services funded a modest endowment that supported an 8-bed women's shelter for years. This gift enabled NYSEC to participate with the local Interfaith Emergency Shelter Coalition and be a leader in supporting the temporary homeless. And over the years, dozens of volunteers were engaged in running this valuable program. Other projects that a special fund can support might include the design, installation, or maintenance of a memory garden, establishing a building maintenance fund, supporting a food bank, initiating a tutoring program, undertaking refugee immigrant support, or to underwrite a professional leader's salary. What would you like your legacy to be? This slide is reserved for your idea, but remember that unrestricted gifts enable the next generation the flexibility to meet the needs of their time. Well, where are the rich people who can establish an endowment for our society? Maybe we can be adopted by a billionaire. Well, how do you find one? Maybe someone will simply appear and give us the money we need. But you don't have to be a billionaire to make an impactful gift. Anyone can make a long-term gift. Who, me, she asks? Yes, you. We have the power to join together and make a difference. We can each contribute a meaningful part of a powerful reserve. With a little forethought and preparation, anyone can make a meaningful and impactful gift that will help build security that will last for years. Brick by brick, a foundation can be laid. Small arrangements you make today will have big impacts in the future. Big impacts because gifts accumulate and investments grow. And it's easy to get started. IRAs and pensions. IRAs and many pension accounts do not pass through a will. The brokerage house receives instructions from you as to who will receive the funds when you die. Your savings automatically goes to the people, the charities, and the institutions that you list on your account as your beneficiaries. Adding a beneficiary is easy. Most brokerage websites have a beneficiaries page where you can add one or more beneficiaries and give instructions, including percentages to each. You can instruct to give 50% to one beneficiary, 10% to another, 15% to a third. You can go online and make the designations yourself, or if not, it's easy to call and make the designation directly with your broker. Here's a sample page from the Fidelity website for account information. It shows the beneficiaries on file, and you can add beneficiaries and edit them. You can have a first beneficiary, such as a spouse, and contingent beneficiaries, as here, should the spouse predecease you. In fact, it's good practice to check your brokerage account from time to time to be sure the beneficiaries are listed accurately. At age 70 and a half, you must start taking distributions each year from your IRA savings in order to avoid tax penalties. But these minimum required distributions do offer tax-advantaged opportunities to give to charitable donations. These required distributions can be directed to your society for your annual dues or as a special donation. While other withdrawals from this account will be taxed as regular income, the amounts you donate to a nonprofit will not be taxed. Simply direct your IRA funds manager, i.e. Fidelity, Chase Bank, wherever you maintain it, to send a part or all of your MRD by check directly to the society. Life insurance can also be designated for multiple beneficiaries. The owner of the policy can call the insurance company and add the society as a full or partial beneficiary. One society recently received over $50,000 life policy benefit from one of its members. That money will be used in part to develop a memory garden, a long-held dream of that society, which had always been out of reach. A provision in your will can provide for an outright gift upon your death or a percentage of your estate. For example, a will clause might say, I give and bequeath $25,000 to the Ethical Society of Essex County and $12,500 to the American Ethical Union. Or I give and bequeath 5% of my residual estate to the Ethical Culture Society of Northern Virginia and 2% of my residual estate to the American Ethical Union. Writing or changing a will realistically needs the help of a lawyer. But unless your estate planning is complex, a will modification is not expensive. In any event, your will should be reviewed and updated periodically. Is now the time? A will offers a lot of flexibility. For example, all your assets remain yours throughout your life. It is not a present gift. A modest percentage gift, such as 5%, will not interfere with other long-range goals. A larger gift, like 25%, can become a substantial investment in the life of the ethical movement after a lifetime of growth and interest accrual. A bequest can be made contingent upon other events, such as being the last to die. That will assure money is available for a surviving spouse. A gift is flexible. It can be given for a specific goal, for example, to support youth programming, or for any purpose that later generations see is needed. Organizations prefer unrestricted gifts, as I said, because future needs are often not anticipated. Remember, a will does not control the movement of an IRA, KEO, or pension. The brokerage instructions do that. You could think of the Ethical Society as one of your own children. Indeed, you know that you invested your heart and soul into it for years. It even looks a lot like you. And it's capable of great things to come. Yet, it is dependent on its parents to launch. It needs your love and support to achieve its potential, and it cannot make it without your help. In addition to your own society, please remember to generously support the American Ethical Union, which maintains the national ethical movement. The AEU supports the work of the societies by training and certifying professional leaders, supporting the formation of new societies, networking among societies, offering lay leadership training, organizing the annual assemblies where national membership can gather together, and through President's Council and committees, sharing ideas, solutions, and activities nationwide. There is an old saying that one generation plants the trees in whose shade another generation rests. We plant trees for future generations because the timeline for a great shade tree is longer than that of any individual's lifetime. But of course, the shade trees that we enjoy were planted by those who came before us. Yet it's up to us to now prepare for future generations. We cannot simply be users. We must also be planters and builders. Felix Adler wrote, We live in order to finish an unfinished universe, unfinished so far as the human is concerned. We live in order to develop the superior qualities of humanity, which are for the most part still latent. In order to fulfill the ethical movement's mission, we must invest in its future. For more information and for technical assistance, the Office of the American Ethical Union can help. There are forms and tips available on the AEU website and through the AEU Fundraising Committee. Thank you for taking the time to listen, and I hope that you enjoyed this presentation.
We are back. Right. Let's see if there's
Well, one of the reasons why I thought this would be a good video for us to watch is about planting the seeds for the next generation. You know, the ethical society's been around for about 150 years. And I would like to see Susquehanna start building a foundation that will allow us to have a future for our grandkids or kids, if you have kids. Some of you have kids. And we need to do this as, you know, as a society. It's not, you know, one person or two people, but we need to do it collectively and make a plan on how we can achieve goals, small or large. We should start putting together a strategic plan, which the board has discussed. And we're going to need the buy-in of our members. Otherwise, there's no sense in it. Anything you got from that?
well, you know, watching the video and listening, I mean, of course, you know, I'm the one who's clutching all the time. Who, me? Right? What do you mean? I don't have a 501k. I don't have any of those things. I've never seen it. Welcome to being a millennial. So there is this thing of thinking about future and where we are. But I think one of the things that really rests for when we think about particularly the Valley and particularly the movement, we also have to think about what we want our voice to be within this movement, and how we do that is in many cases, as one of my friends stated earlier today, putting our money where our mouth is, right? And we hate to use such a tough phrase sometimes, because when we do talk about money, we immediately cringe or we are very, very uncomfortable. We are comfortable with asking, uncomfortable with asking, and so a lot of the things that you've been pointing out, and as we've kind of realized the magnitude in which we see the society wanting to grow, I can honestly say, since we've seen, you know, been going through each Sunday, there has been a growth and just seeing people, you know, taking up not only just, you know, aspects of funding, but also their talents.
That's another important thing.
And so I was, you know, I'm thinking about, like, you know, here it is, a community where we are constantly thinking about how to serve. And I know if we think about it, we break it down. You have what is it? It's three of them. It's talent and
time, treasure, and talent.
Time, treasure, and talent. So can you break some of those down for us so that we get a better sense of what that might look like?
Well, treasure, of course, would be the coin.
Hey.
Time would be showing up for Sundays, showing up and volunteering for programming, fitness,
Valley Free School.
There you go. I would love to see more parents involved. That would be great. And talent, you may not be able to show up all the time, but maybe you have a skill that can be used by the society.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're able to maybe a good planner, or something that could assist one of the committees. Doesn't mean you have to be there all the time, but you would be able to help out. It's about all of us working together. That's my main thing, and not have the work just done by 2 or 3 people.
Can I point out, so when you think about this is a kind of a question I began to think about, is if I was going to break this up into 100%, right? Ideally, what percentage, because I think we're very heavy weighted with people committing their talents. So, and if we kind of looked at where we were, and then if we think about like time and treasure, what would be a healthy percentage between all 3 of these, like 30, 40, 20, like 20, 70, like, how do you see it?
I see it as treasure 50%.
Okay.
And then the other 2, 25% each.
25% each. All right. Look, I got my notepad. So if you're not writing it, I'm writing it down too, so I can learn. Okay. Because like, I don't assume that I'm just sitting here and coming on Sunday, because I know I'm good with the talent part and the time part. The treasuring is a little difficult when you after you just finished the PhD. Okay.
But see, well, if we put effort towards the time and treasure, time and talent, going out into the community, shouting out on the rooftops about ethical culture and the Valley, then it's the hope that that will bring in interested people, which will build on more of the treasure.
Hold on, you're saying something here that is kind of a bit of a humanist discrepancy, because we're not supposed to be proselytizing and preaching the good news of ethical culture. How dare we? We're supposed to stay in our little box like we are right now. See, you're in a box with me. This is enough of a box that we're going to share. We're not trying to share it with other 45 other people in our community. Are you trying to say that we need to actually go out? Is there some ethical culture backing for this that you've read or something?
Yes, Ed Erickson said this at the 100th anniversary of the founding of the Society of Ethical Culture.
Okay.
He said that we need, well, hold on one second.
Go get that quote. We need to know that quote, because I know I get in trouble for being called the ethical evangelist online. And it's a very unique term for me, because I like to make noise, but I try to be very mindful that we don't come from that practice. Not necessarily tradition, but practice.
Why don't you read that?
I'm not going to read that. You read that. You read that.
Okay. And Ed Erickson challenged his colleagues, the other leaders, to reject the old notion, which was Adler's notion, and the leaders of the time, that ethical cultures don't believe in proselytizing.
Mm-hmm.
He urged his co-religionists to adopt a missionary attitude, saying to succeed in the competition of religions and ideologies, ethical culture must be clear about itself. He's saying we need to be like missionaries. We need to tell people what we're about. We need to be out there speaking to them. Otherwise, they're not going to hear it.
Yeah.
We don't advertise like the Christians do. We don't knock on doors like the Jehovah's Witnesses.
And we have to consider where we're located. I mean, I can truly speak for myself as someone who came, from the Black cultural tradition. To hear of anything even remotely close to this did not happen until I actually was 27 when I went to seminary. So I never heard of humanists. I didn't even think that even people who identified as humanists or on the spectrum of humanism, whether they identified as agnostic or atheist, that anything like this could exist. And so I often, even in my approach to this work, I can honestly say, there are not necessarily identifiers if people have never been in this aspect. A lot of people in this millennial time are becoming nons because there really is it's not in mainstream that humanism is a thing. I can be very honest about that. Unless you have gotten some level of education or degree or experience with interfaith communities or interreligious communities, you will never run into that. And I can be very transparent about my own experience because I found ethical culture literally because of my seminary experience. But I did not experience any humanists until I went to Riverdale, which was a year after I had finished seminary. So I have my little ways of moving in the world, you know, and I will say, like, I met somebody in Baltimore, for example, short, quick story. And the woman had met my mother in the art store. They had this wonderful time. And this woman is talking to my mother back and forth, back and forth. My mother texts me and says, you need to come inside the art store. There's this amazing woman. You have to meet them. Everything about their values really resonates with you, right? I get in front of the woman. We're talking. I listen to her. And she asked me, what do I do? I say, I'm clergy. And she's like, oh, so she's a little standoffish. And I said, but I'm not your average clergy. I was like, a lot of the values that you have, they perfume with a place that I call ethical culture. Her mouth drops open. She is a part of the Brooklyn Ethical Society. I mean, the Baltimore Ethical Society. She was blown away that I was I was a part of the AU. She was blown away that I knew about ethical culture. But that conversation would not have happened, I don't believe, unless I pointed out to her that her values fragranced like ethical culture. Do you see what I did with that moment? So a lot of times it's very hard for us to talk about maybe our tradition. But if you just you'll be amazed at some people who don't realize that, because a lot of my friends, particularly, I do that with Olivia. I'm like, that, you know, some of the values I'm like, oh yeah, you got that humanist vibe, that naturalistic humanist vibe. And because we are able in a very gentle way to name those beautiful things, because we have such a spectrum of our humanity that I think not only speaks to our talent, but, you know, also the treasure that we are personally. And then to figure out how can we begin to promote such work, right? And how do we do it? And I think one of the things that I want to pick up off of with Ed Erickson's work here is he says ethical culture must be clear about itself. Ethical culture must be clear about itself. And I'm going to go, and I'm not far reaching here. The way that you help people become clear is really being able to put your financial backing behind that being clear, because some visions cannot stay in the packet of a sketch. They have to be a product. They have to be a program. And that requires funding. It's for us to be clear about supporting the Valley Free School and being very intentional about how we create resources for Jesse, and not just Jesse, but the young people that are being served. It is taking the moments and realizing that, you know, not everybody in the Valley has weights in their house or particularly equipment in their home. But if we had a pocket to go ahead and go to for, right, Valley Vanguard Fitness, that is something else that can happen, because we're concerned about the health and the wealth of our community. When we bring in people like Lindsay, who have, you know, come in and really, you know, living truly as a full-time artist is not easy, especially in a pandemic where all of the stages and all of the gatherings are oftentimes rearranged, moved around, delayed, postponed, or canceled because of a pandemic. We as a Valley can look and say, hey, we have an incredible musician who writes their own music, who actually, like, we should be able to look at the product and release a product into the world. Here is an album to release to the world. Here is a product where we actually began to fortify the vision. And I get it. Hear me. I probably understand it like some of you, and you're probably like, you don't get it at all yet. But look, it's okay. Let's beg to differ. But as someone who just finished a doctoral degree, hasn't necessarily fully worked in 6 years with an education, and I got degrees galore, and I think to myself, the expenses I have really, really weigh on me. Getting back and forth to the Valley or back and forth, that is intense work. And I can be honest, it is because of folks who have become generous givers. But being a sponsor to a program, to a project, to someone's vision is vital. And it makes it clear what we do, who we are, how we are in the world, and the work that takes place in our community. Being clear helps us see what our work looks like. And it's going to require that financial support. It's going to require not only support, it's going to require maybe someone to tune in and say, what is my attention, my financial attention to this matter? If you ever think about, there might be, I don't know how you split up your home, but sometimes some people have certain bills that they just focus on. Maybe that's just your bill for this community. Because a bill is not a bad thing to receive. A bill, as I used to teach, it lets you know that you are responsible for something. Anytime that bill's not paid, you know that you've gotten behind. Anytime there are things that we are building that are requiring a bill, and we need your financial attention on it. And you know what? It might not be you. You'll be amazed. You might actually encourage somebody else to come on board who find the very thing to attach themselves to and bring their financial attention to. You might have some friends that are like, I love that poetry session that Olivia is starting. And I really appreciate the fact that the Valley gave us some books so I can work on my poetry. I'm just gonna put my attention right here in the Valley and their attention on this writing workshop with Olivia. I want to put my attention on Lindsay's music. That is possible because all it does is feed our community to be better, to not only just be better, but also flourish and grow in ways that we can't even imagine. I love vision. I work hard off of vision. You got an idea, I'm ready to expand. And I will tell you now, there is no mountain high enough and no valley low enough, because we about to have vision all day, every day, honey. So, I encourage you to think about that. And when it comes down to time, right? Yes, Carolyn. When it comes down to time, I'm in every meeting. And I'm not even in Susquehanna's meeting all the time because I'm late running to others.
I know.
I tell you, I told you I'm just like that little image of the woman clutching herself and had a tank top on. Where's my tank top? It's not summertime yet. But you also are swamped with time.
Oh, yeah.
And I know people like Rick, be burning the midnight oil, got to go to sleep and wake up early. I see Rick is here and then gone in the next minute. And but he's so loved and appreciated. How do we figure out how to how to come out of, for people like myself, sometimes I had the mindset, I'll be honest, I had the mindset that somebody else will step in. Woo, come on, that's some of us. And somebody else is gonna step, Patty got that. I know Patty got that. I'm gonna send her an email, even though I probably, how do you bring yourself to meetings and making sure that you put in the time? How do you figure that out?
I work a lot until odd hours in the morning. But I joined Susquehanna Valley because I could have joined any society, one closer. But I saw the things that you all were doing, and it was a small society, but you had boots on the ground. You were doing toy drives or teddy bears, and you were out there with signs, and and I was like, wow, they're practically brand new in the scheme of things. And they're putting the effort in. And to me, if you believe in something, and I truly believe in ethical culture, I mean, I have a tattoo of it on my neck, then you make the time.
Yeah.
You have to make the time, because Patty is not going to always be there. Jay's not going to always be there. I'm not going to be there all the time, etc. We all have other priorities in our lives, but we make this a priority also.
I hear that. I really hear that. I hear the need. I hear the need, and I love this word of priority, but collective priority, right? Like collective priority. If I can reimagine with you, when I hear the word priority, and then I think about it from this collective framework, it seems like we need to have peers within that priority, right? People that we can go to, that can step in, right? That can uphold us. These are what peers do, right? I know I can go to Lindsay as my peer, I know that I can shape things within that peer relationship. Not only that, but then I can build, with that priority too, right? I end up also engaging with possibility, right? Engaging with possibility is not, I don't mean that as an abstract phrase. I actually mean that in the sense of like, you're saying that like meeting that need creates, creates a future connection, right? So there's possibility in that. Not only that, let's add another P to this situation. You got to have passion, peers and passion and possibility. I'm a 3 kind of person. I can go for 5 if we want to. Look, but I think passion also says something about that. It does, because it holds our commitment. It helps us amplify our voice.
Well, we all joined the society for some reason. Are we filling that need? If we're not filling that need, then we need you to tell all of us how to fill that need. What can we do better as a society? Not individuals, but as a society. But when no one says anything, we don't know. And it's hard to build on what we don't know.
I think some of us get to a place where we are, and a lot of us can probably share in this narrative, we were moved to come in. And as we came in, we sometimes forget in coming in to this moment that we either silo ourselves and we decide not to grow out, and we forget the possibilities of also, so coming in doesn't mean that we get a chance to grow out, right? And so this is something where we've got to think about as we've been called into the valley. We can't just take these seeds and let them sit here.
We can't be complacent.
Right? We can't. This is not a time. We need to take these seeds and kind of be like old, seed sowers. They used to just throw them. They had their little bag. Like, I'm just going to turn this little fabric thing into a bag right now. but they used to have it back in the day. Now, look, I'm not from Pennsylvania, but I know it looked like something like this. They used to walk around and they'd be just swinging the, you know, can we get like that? You know, can we have that moment to sow the seed? And you'll never know where it's going to land. It might land in areas that you think you expected for it to land. Check this. You can be talking to someone and planting a seed somewhere, and someone overhears, and that seed has been planted over into them. You can be at a restaurant or whatever, and somebody's overhearing. I heard you talking about this place. What is this place called? Where is it located at? Can you point me in the nearest Zoom direction? Can you point me in the next, you know, in the next, because that's what people need. And we never realize how far we're throwing those seeds. But trust yourself to amplify the voice, and we'll see that fruition as well. You know, and I think, you know, beyond, you know, all the arrangements of things that we talked about in the video, you know, I'm not trying to think about transition in my life. I'm not trying to go nowhere time soon, you know, and look, even though some people feel like, you know, that they are seasoned, it is not your season. We still on this Zoom call together. Okay, so we don't have to have that conversation, but we definitely need to realize the importance of investment. And I think you hit it really, really far. And I think if some of us can also put a scale for ourselves, our talent, our time, and our treasure, and think about your percentage. Gauge yourself personally. I mean, here it is. Our vice president has given us, you know, 25 for talent, 25 for time, and then 50 for treasure. But it's okay if that's not your reality.
Yeah, of course not.
Definitely.
You always put more for the treasure because you want to build that foundation.
Mm-hmm. Come on, talk about foundation.
Because if we don't have that foundation, we're really not going anywhere. That's foundation financially, foundation spiritually, mentally, with each other. We need to be whole. And I kind of see us a bit scattered at the moment.
Mm-hmm. No, that's okay. Speak to the reality. That's where we are as a community. Like, we're doing a lot of things. And I think we have a heart for a lot of things. And we have to begin to look at our resources. Right now, to be very transparent, I mean, Lindsay agreed to do a 3-month trial for us. Believe it or not, this is her last month, you know, with that trial. And we want to, you know, we want to be able to ask comfortably, you know, is that something that we can continue as a community? Because her music is not only personally for herself, but it has served us in this time of why we're so far apart. Why we are, you know, I mean, that little bit of that one song that probably is echoing after you, it just does you good. And I don't know about you, but it does me good. You know, those poems, I mean, it brings me joy to hear them. It brings me joy to see that, you know, like Nancy's comments of enjoyment of them and things. I mean, Guy, I cannot thank you enough for the times that you text me and just like, you are incredible. And I'm thinking to myself like, you know, I'm doing something, you know, right. Because I do work from that space of time and talent, you know, and it's, you know, I appreciate the investment, but I do know that we need to really look at our future, and we need to look at the foundation of our future. And we need to look at that by beginning to look at how to make our vision clear by putting funds towards that vision. And I hope that we can begin to discern what that process looks like for us. In this month, we've been talking a lot about undergirding our community with all of this work, you know, but really putting our funds to make our vision clearer would be so helpful. Bringing fellowship into larger fellowship, inviting friends, to bring a friend, like February, I want to see some friends. February is about friendship, y'all. That's gonna be the theme. We want to bring in friends. We want to see some new faces. Invite them one time, give them a little taste of something, so they can feel like, wow, this is not a gimmick. This is a real deal situation. I don't have to wait for my pie in the sky kind of, spirit. Like, I can actually create my heaven right here, my nirvana right here, my enlightenment right here. Like, yes, like I think that's important. So, is there anything that we did not cover?
I don't think so. I think we've covered everything. But what I would like to, my final thing is, if, like I said, we need to, our biggest resource is each other. So we need to come together. So we need to figure out a way where all of us can voice, what does this mean to us?
Mm-hmm.
What am I missing, or what can I give? So maybe the board can figure out how we can do that. And I would like for everyone to participate in that. It won't take long.
Mr. Vice President, I hear a town hall coming your way. There you go. So we'll get a town hall schedule set up, and maybe just send out a little questionnaire just to kind of get an idea of like times that we can meet with you and Patty and then the rest of the board, and really help us make our vision clear as we move through this year. And it's not that we don't have a vision. We have worked solely as of last year off of our mission.
Right.
And our mission has done a very good job mobilizing our vision. So now we've been sketching out our vision with people like Lindsay, people like, Olivia, Brian, and Phyllis, and the constant work of Prism, and those are sketches. They're consistent. We see them. We know that they're here. We want to fortify that vision. We want to clarify that vision, because we've worked off the mission for a full year, and y'all have, and the commitment there is helping us expand, right? The mission is helping us grow because we're focused on our mission. Now it's time to really, really create really focus on the vision. The actual question is, what does the valley look like? And guess what? Because you're a part of it, the question is, what do you look like?
Right.
All right. So I hope that that brings us into some things, and we're going to do the talk back, so we can be in discussion, because this act has to go on the road.
Does anyone have any comments or questions or anything? Well, that's easy.
I'll say, just on a personal note, I've been doing lives every Sunday, or trying to, before this, and my most recent one I just mentioned and tagged Ethical Valley. So I'm gonna try to keep doing that since it's right afterwards. And so yeah, just to like get mutual traffic. And I've also been like telling all my friends, and I'm gonna keep reminding them, because I told them and they came a few times, Precious and JJ, but I'm gonna keep reminding people and keep sending out the link.
A good love reminder always helps people, because it's not that they just haven't developed a routine sometimes, and that's helpful. Yeah, thank you for that.
Lena, you said there's something you want to share. You want to bring some talent.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure when exactly this song would fit, but one of my favorite a cappella groups has this song called Remember This, and I really like the message and I can put the YouTube link for the official video in the chat.
Thank you, Lena. I love when we come willing to share the gifts that we have. Anyone else? Please.
Well, I'll turn it over to you then, Patty.
Okay, all right. I do have a quote that I thought would fit to end things today, and it's a quote from Bell Hooks. And I'll be honest, I didn't know too much about Bell Hooks until Jay has, spoken of her frequently, and so I've been, reading more about her and things that she has written. But this quote resonated with me, and it goes: "The intellectual tradition of the West is very individualistic. It's not community-based. The intellectual is often thought of as a person who is alone and cut off from the world. So I have had to practice being willing to leave the space of my study to be in community, to work in community, and to be changed by community." And hallelujah, that sure does speak to us today.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, yes. So I thank everyone for being with us, and I look forward to our meeting again. Hopefully see some of us next Sunday with the All Society platform, and then ready to hit the road in February 6th, and let's see what we can do together, and just build what we got here. And Lindsay, thank you for your beautiful music, and I hope it's not the last we have you with us. So, okay.
Thank
yes,
you, Lindsay. Thank you, Olivia.
And Olivia, I will see you in February also. And I'm anxious to get more of this poetry circle idea going with you. It'll be great. And Brian, we'll see you exercising Thursday night. Goodbye, everyone.
Right now, he's coming. He's coming.
Love you all.
You're right.
I'm ready to see you. I'm ready to see you.
Bye, everyone. Love you.
Take care.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.